Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. And we have Stacey Littlefield, and she is a master herbalist with Redd Remedies. And we are going to be talking about so many things today. We're going to be talking about how chronic stress alters your blood sugar and your thyroid, and why iodine is not enough to support your thyroid. And we've got tips and tricks that you've never even thought about for weight loss. So Stacey, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So let's first start with how chronic stress alters your blood sugar.
Yeah, chronic stress impacts pretty much every body system, but it has a really big impact on how our body metabolizes and kind of mobilizes sugar. So if we think about what the stress response is, it's fight or flight mode, right? So your body needs to gear up for that fight or that flight. So it's going to mobilize blood sugar into your bloodstream so that it can go to your muscles so that you can fight for your life or you can run away. The problem is that the problem's twofold. Number one, we are chronically stressed. We are stressed every moment of every day. So we're constantly in fight or flight mode. The second problem is that we are neither fighting nor are we running. When we're stressed, we're behind a laptop. We're stuck in traffic. We're at the grocery store. So those calories in that sugar does not get burned off. And chronic stress just keeps those sugar levels elevated, which then in turn will elevate your insulin levels, which will then lead to insulin resistance, where your cells are not recognizing or listening to insulin. Your cells just get to the point where they're like, yeah, I just saw you. I'm not going to listen to what you're saying. I'm not going to, uptake this sugar. Go store it somewhere else for later. And it gets stored in our fat cells.
So good. So tell me, one of the things that you talked about before we got on the call was just how chronic stress can affect your blood sugar.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So cortisol, one of the actions of cortisol is to help us recover from the fight or flight mode, from that initial rush of epinephrine or adrenaline. Cortisol comes in behind that. And it's the cortisol that actually keeps our blood sugar levels high and elevated, because cortisol wants us, again, it wants us to replace all of that energy that we just burned. And so cortisol will actually push people to eat food that is high calorie, high sugar. So we have this built-in mechanism that is supposed to protect us. Like the stress response is a survival response. So when we have these stress mediators and hormones constantly coursing through our bodies, not only is it, keeping our blood sugar levels elevated, it's also driving our brains to tell us to eat more sugar, to eat more carbohydrates, because we have to put back all those calories and all that energy that we just burned.
So I have a friend that just told me he was a farmer, and he said that when you take a potato out of the ground, he has diabetes and he has a continuous blood glucose monitor. And he told me the wildest thing. He said, I watch my blood sugar when I eat a potato. If I get a potato from a grocery store that's probably been out of the ground for, who knows, like 30 days. I don't even know how long a potato takes from the time it comes from there to the grocery store. But he says, if I eat that, my blood sugar goes up so high that I just, can't do it without adding insulin. He said, but I'm a farmer. If I go take my potato straight from the ground and then I eat it, my blood sugar's okay. Isn't that the wildest thing? Can you explain that?
Yeah, that is really interesting. And so I'm gonna, I think it probably has something to do with the degradation of the starches that are found in the potatoes, because there's a big difference between, taking something out of the ground and eating it, 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, and something that's been stored in a warehouse, transported across the country, that then sits at the grocery store. During that time, starches and other nutrients and other chemical compounds that are found in the food will start to degrade. The vitamin content degrades. The structure of the starches start to degrade so that they're smaller, easier for the body to absorb, easier to turn into sugar. So that's my theory. It's just that the starches have become smaller and more simple in structure, which then increases blood sugar levels.
And I think it kind of has to do with like resistant starch as well. Like if you think of a banana, you know how when they say like, green bananas are a really great source of resistant starch if they're green, but as soon as they start turning yellow, like the more yellow they are as the banana ripens, the resistant starch turns into simple sugars, like fructose. And I think the same thing must happen with the potato, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It makes sense if that's what happens to a banana, and that same thing must happen to a potato.
Yeah. I mean, over time, like any produce or vegetable, it has a shelf life. Any fruit has a shelf life. I mean, you can see that. Bananas go from green and firm to mushier and mushier because those starches are breaking down into sugars, like you said. So same thing would likely happen in a potato too.
So one of the things that you say is that iodine is not enough to support your thyroid. Why do you say that?
I say that because our thyroids don't exist in a vacuum. They're not a singular gland that's kind of acting on its own. It is part of a larger system. So the hypothalamus and the pituitary have a lot to do with how your thyroid functions, when it functions, and when it's going to release hormone. Your liver health has a lot to do with converting inactive thyroid hormone into active thyroid hormone. And then chronic stress also is very disruptive to the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis. Just like we have an HPA axis for stress, there's something called the HPT axis as part of the thyroid system. What iodine does is it's part of the kind of the backbone for thyroid hormone. And if you take, iodine and just iodine alone, it may increase your hormone levels, your thyroid hormone output, but it does nothing to address conversion of inactive to active, because your thyroid releases the bulk of hormone in an inactive state. Iodine doesn't do anything about conversion to a usable format. Iodine alone does not address the impact of cortisol and chronic stress on the way our cells use available thyroid hormone. Chronic stress also disrupts the conversion of inactive to active. So if you're just hyper-focused on your thyroid and pushing it to kick out more hormone, and you can't use that hormone, it's not really going to support your thyroid system. It's just shoving your thyroid to work really, really hard. And some individuals actually have, they have kind of like a backward response. Some people can induce hypothyroidism because they are taking so much iodine. So if you can take large amounts of iodine over a long period of time, your thyroid can actually start to shut down and not produce thyroid hormone. So you need to look at the thyroid system as a part of the body as a whole, which is all connected, and, address that as opposed to looking at the thyroid as a singular entity, existing unimpacted by other parts of the body.
Well, one of the things I want to address is because, if people say that, should I take iodine supplements, right? Like I have a hypothyroidism. Should I take iodine supplements to help control thyroid function? And what a lot of people say is that you usually don't need iodine supplements if you live in the United States because there's so much iodine in salt. And so people don't need it. But there's a lot of people like me who for years, I don't eat at restaurants a ton. And the restaurants I do eat, they might be using like pink Himalayan sea salt and stuff like that. And so the question is, if someone has hypothyroidism, and let's say they're not eating a lot of outside food, they're using pink Himalayan salt, they're not using iodized salt, would you recommend them eating or taking an iodine supplement?
Well, yes and no. So, I mean, it really depends on the type of supplement and the level of iodine in there. Ideally, someone's going to go get their iodine levels checked and see where they're at. So they know are you truly deficient? Should you supplement? And, how much should you supplement with? There are all kinds of iodine supplements out there. You can get low dose, or there are supplements out there that are really high mega doses that as, an herbalist and someone that's been in the industry for, 25 years, I don't recommend people take mega doses of iodine. I think it could be potentially harmful. So it really, it's important to know where you are before you start supplementing with things. Now, in our thyroid product, Thyroid Strong, we do include kelp, which is a great source of iodine. But kelp also has other minerals, other micronutrients that are important to the thyroid system as a whole. So at Redd, we don't really recommend isolated iodine salts like potassium chloride. We say eat kelp or use a kelp supplement because it's generally a cleaner source. Iodine salts are sourced from some ugly places. So kelp is it's a cleaner way to get iodine into your diet. But you can't just do that. You really need to focus on the impact that stress has on thyroid function and the impact that liver health has on thyroid hormone metabolism. You need to address all of it, not just the iodine component.
You guys, if you've been listening to my podcast, you know I've been talking about Masszymes, which is a digestive enzyme from Bioptimizers. And I want you to know that here's the thing. For me, having a digestive enzyme is a game changer because one of the biggest things that happens to me is I get really tired after my meal if I don't do it, and I have a problem with nutrient absorption. So if you could be eating the cleanest diet ever, but if you're not absorbing it, that's an issue. So this month, they're doing a really great special, and you're going to get a free bottle of the digestive enzymes from Bioptimizers. And so all you have to do is pay a nominal shipping fee. That's it. No other strings attached. It's the best thing ever. So get your free bottle of digestive enzymes. It's called Masszymes. Go to masszymes.com/wasteawayfree and use the coupon code wasteaway10. That's it. So masszymes.com/wasteawayfree. Use the coupon wasteaway10. It's awesome. So one of the products that I know you guys have is called Joint Health. And I will tell you, my joints hurt more now than they ever have. And so I want you to talk about some of the kind of reasons why my joints might be hurting and what's in this product that would be so kind of really help with your joints.
Yeah. So I think, when, as women, we're two ladies here. So, as we age, we all know what's coming when we are in our late 40s and 50s. And some of us, perimenopause starts, in your 30s. So as estrogen declines, it affects collagen production, collagen structures. And I think a lot of women realize that will affect your skin and the appearance of your skin. But what a lot of us don't realize is that also impacts the integrity of our joint tissues, the integrity of cartilage. So our joint health products, we have Joint Health Original and Joint Health Advanced. Both of those products contain an ingredient called NEM, which is natural eggshell membrane. And it's literally the membrane that you see when you peel a hard-boiled egg, the kind of rubbery part. So in that membrane is all the nutrients our joints need to support the health and integrity of that joint structure. NEM will help with joint stiffness and flexibility. It helps to protect the cartilage from the normal wear and tear associated with aging. And it has 16 human clinical trials behind it to back up the speed to efficacy, which can be as little as 7 days. And the longer that you take it, the better it will help for joint discomfort, joint flexibility, and really helping to maintain the integrity of cartilage. And it's just one per day. It's a really easy product to use.
Love it. So let's talk 1 minute about some of like the number one product that you guys have right now that is kind of the game changer of all game changers.
Yeah, so the number one product that we have right now that's generating just a ton of excitement and interest is called Peaceful Mama. And that is our stress product specifically for women. Stress hits women differently. We carry it differently. Women experience far more digestive, stress-related symptoms than men do. And we wanted to create a stress formula that women could take no matter what life stage they were in. Our Peaceful Mama stress formula is safe for women who are pregnant and nursing. And that's a huge group of women that is unaddressed. There are a lot of things, even though they're natural, we cannot use when we're pregnant and nursing. And the main ingredient in our Peaceful Mama product, which is called Lactium, has been shown to be suitable for pregnant and nursing moms. There are no adverse effects, no toxicological issues regarding pregnancy or nursing, and it works quickly. The way I, tell people it works, it gives you better emotional control in your response to stressful situations. It helps you anticipate those surprise stressors so that you show up in the way that you want to, especially if you're a mom. If you've got a toddler that's, doing what toddlers do, which is a lot of destruction, you want to show up in, an understanding way. You don't want to fly off the handle. They're little kids. They're just having fun. So Peaceful Mama really gives women the ability to show up with calm confidence so that they can approach and adapt any situation that's going to come at them throughout the day.
I love it. Well, tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Okay, so you can find us at reddremedies.com. That's our website, and all our products are listed there. We sell our products through independent health food retailers, so you can find us in brick and mortars. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. I also have an Instagram called Herbalist Answers. If you just want to hear little tidbits about plants and botanicals and herbs, you can follow me there. Pretty much any social media platform, you'll be able to find us.
Awesome. Stacy, thanks so much for being with us. I know there's one more thing we didn't talk about before we end. Oh my goodness. We didn't answer the question. We were going to give them tips and tricks that they've never thought about for weight loss. That's like the most important one, right? And I just saw like,
yes.
Good.
Yeah. So, one of the things that, especially it's so difficult for people to change their diets, especially if they're coming off the standard American diet, high in sugar, high in simple starches. But there are ingredients and products out there that can help ease that transition for you so that you're not constantly craving sugar and craving carbohydrates. So we have a product called Crave Stop that can actually impact the glycemic index of the food that you're eating and decrease the amount of sugar and starches that are then absorbed into your bloodstream. So I think for anyone that's might be shifting to a diet like keto, where it's more protein fat focused, someone that is shifting from eating 3, standard big meals a day to intermittent fasting, whether you're doing a 16-8 or, a 5-2, whether you're doing it hourly or weekly, because you can do it, a couple different ways. Our Crave Stop product can really help you transition through that so that you will be more successful in making those dietary changes and changes to your lifestyle.
So tell us exactly what's in it and what does it do to make you stop having cravings?
So Crave Stop is a blend of botanicals and nutrients that works on the in phase, which is your digestive system, and then on the out phase, which is when the sugar or glucose reaches the bloodstream. So the main ingredient in Crave Stop is called NC2, and it is an organic non-GMO extract of 2 brown seaweeds. And what NC2 does is it disrupts the metabolism of sugars and starches in the digestive system. And it has been clinically shown to reduce post-meal blood sugar levels by up to 48%. And the crazy thing about NC2 and our Crave Stop product is that it will work the first time you take it. This isn't something that you need to take for months. It will disrupt that blood sugar, metabolism and sugar metabolism in the digestive tract in one dose. So that's the main ingredient to work on the in phase. We have other ingredients like American ginseng, chromium, a special type of chromium called Chrominex-3, Gymnema sylvestre, to help in the out phase, to help your cells utilize insulin, to help your cells then utilize that blood sugar so that it's not being stored as fat constantly. And the American ginseng will balance the stress response so that you don't have elevated levels of cortisol, which then drive you to eat more sugar. So what Crave Stop will do is it takes those spikes and kind of cliffs in blood sugar levels and turn them into gently rolling hills, which is exactly what we want. We just want things to be level, gently rolling instead of blood sugar spiking, then crashing, because it's during the crash that your brain's going to be like, hey, put that sugar back. I need to run on sugar. Go eat some sugar. So that's Crave Stop is designed to work on stress response, digestion, and then liver and cellular health.
Yeah, I feel like chromium is a key ingredient. I feel like if I take chromium, like you said, if you do have something with a lot of carbs, as soon as that blood sugar goes up, as soon as it starts coming down, that's when you're like, I want something sweet.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. And like I said, we want to take those cliffs, those drop-offs, and turn them into just rolling hills. Now, the type of chromium that we use in Crave Stop is a really unique form of chromium because the element chromium, it likes to change states. It can be, a 0, it can be +3, chromium-3, or it can be chromium-6. Chromium-6 is the Aaron Brockovich chromium. It's a carcinogen. We use an ingredient called Chrominex-3 that maintains the stability of chromium so that it never turns into chromium-6. It does it naturally. You need to complex that chromium with other ingredients like amla berry and shilajit to keep it stable and keep it in the +3 state. So it's a really great form of chromium.
I love it. So you guys, we definitely want you to try these products. We have a promo code for you. Stacy, tell them what it is.
The promo code for today's show is Waste Away, just like in the title, all one word. And that code is good for 20% off any 2 products in our line. Doesn't need to be just the products we talked about today. It could be any of our products.
Well, you guys stay tuned. We've got another episode coming up in just a few. Thank you so much for being with us, Stacy. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.